Hey guys, and welcome back to another Factorio tutorial. I'm Exterminator, and thank you for joining me. This is going to be kind of an episode 2 for the tips and tricks video I did about 2 months ago, 10 tips and tricks you may not know. I'll link that in the description, and there should be a way to access it popping up in the video up here. And this is kind of a follow-up because there's a lot I just didn't have time to cover in that video. So we'll get started here. The first one is something that I think a lot of people do not know about that can be really helpful. So it's just a quick option. Normally, when you request something, by default, if you haven't changed this option, when you request something, it requests an entire stack by default of whatever it is. If it's circuits, a stack is 200. If it's inserters, a stack is 50, I believe. And a lot of the time, you don't want an entire stack being requested. And you can change it, but the request has already gone out, so the robots are still bringing it. You go into options and other, and there's an option right here, set Legit's request count to 1 instead of stack size, which will do exactly what it says. It'll set it so that when you request an item, it just defaults to a request of 1, and then you can change it from there. So this is just really nice if you don't want to always be requesting an entire stack and have it delivered by the robots initially. So that one's quite useful. Next one is what we call belt weaving or belt braiding. So with underground belts, right, you can't place them on the same plane or the same line if you're using the same type of underground belt. So I have these here connected, which is like normal. But if I have another one and I wanted to go into here, it just auto connects to this one. Like it won't let me connect this because they're the same level, right? It just thinks I'm trying to connect to this one. But you can achieve this by belt weaving, which is what we have here. If you use different level of belts, you can place them on the same plane or the same line here and have them connect to their own level and then go from there. So, we can have this coming out here and we have 3 separate belts all going in the same direction on the same line. Now, this is not a very well optimized way for me to do it. I could have placed these a lot better, but just to demonstrate, that can be done, which is really helpful sometimes. The next one is copy pasting from an assembler to a requester chest. So in my first video for this, I covered copy pasting from assemblers to assemblers. To copy, you shift right click the assembler. You can see it has a green box around it. And to paste, you shift left click. If you shift left click, if you paste it to a requester, it'll request 10 times the required materials for whatever is being made. So circuits require 1 iron and 3 copper cable. If I paste this to the requester, it'll automatically set it to 10 and 30, which is 10 times. And that can be really useful instead of manually going around and doing each one. And then, of course, you can copy from one requester to the other, which makes it really useful as well. And then after that, number 4 is you can connect and disconnect power wires. So these are all connected, right? This is normal. But for like separating power networks, sometimes you want to do that, or like for power switches, you want to do that quite a bit of the time. If you want to disconnect wires, you shift left click the power pole and it will disconnect any wires touching it. You can see it disconnected this one and this one. And then that way, these are 2 separate networks. So I didn't really want this one disconnected, but you can just easily reconnect it with a piece of copper wire by just left-clicking that and left-clicking this. And then we have 2 separate power networks here, which can be really useful in some cases. And I think quite a few people don't realize you can do that. Next one is you can remove entities from blueprints, like while you're creating them or after it's been created. So this is a good example. I'm just going to clear this one. So if I blueprint this, and let's just say, for example, I made a mistake and I didn't want this belt. If you right-click this stuff in this window, you can see it grays it out. This will remove it from the blueprint altogether. And you can even see the count going down here. If I then do create blueprint, you can see the belt's no longer in it. And you can even do that once it's already been created. If I just right-click it to edit, I can still remove stuff and make sure you do save, and then you will just be left with this. So you can edit the blueprints really easily that way instead of having to redo them. It's super useful. You can also, number 6, you can also quick upgrade a lot of stuff in the game. So assemblers, chests, belts, splitters, underground belts, you can quick upgrade them without having to tear them down. So like this, for example, I can just upgrade this or even downgrade it just by placing over it without having to tear it down, and downgrade it. Again, it works for undergrounds, it works for splitters, downgrade, replace, upgrade, whatever. Assemblers, it works as well, obviously, so I can upgrade this, I can downgrade this. And inserters, it works too, except for long-handed. You cannot quick change or quick replace long-handed. So like this won't let me do it, and going the other way as well, it won't let me do it. But all these other ones, it'll let you just, I can just quickly, just quick replace this stuff. And another cool thing about this is if you have a condition set on an inserter, so like this logistics condition, if you replace it with an inserter that can also have a condition, so pretty much anything except burner inserters, it'll keep that condition. So if I then place this over it, you can see it's kept this, which is really, really nice. And chests as well, obviously, I can just, change it from literally anything I want. One quick note though, if you have a chest, right, full of stuff, and you replace it with a smaller chest, it will dump all this stuff in your inventory. So do keep that in mind. It will dump all the rest in your inventory, which can be kind of annoying. And number 7 is biters, at least big biters and behemoths, can reach one space over walls. And this is important when setting up your defenses, because if you place your turrets smack dab up against the wall, the biters, or at least large and behemoth ones, can reach over this and actually damage these guys. And then obviously spitters can shoot. But if you offset them by at least one, that'll stop that from happening, which can be really useful because you don't need all that needless damage happening to your turrets. And the very last one is biter evolution. I think a lot of people don't realize what actually increases biter evolution. I've had a lot of questions about that. So there are 3 things currently in the game that increase the evolution factor of the biters. And I'm going to list these from least to most. The least impactful is the passing of time, and it's calculated in ticks, which is what the game calculates things in. There's 60 ticks in a second. So for every tick, or every 60th of a second, it increases the evolution by 0.0004%. So very, very minimal amount. And then the next one, which is more impactful, is the pollution you create. And an important note here is that it's not pollution that just hits the biters, it's global pollution regardless of if it's hitting any enemies or not. Just anywhere you're creating pollution, this contributes. So for every 1,000 pollution units that you're creating, it increases the evolution factor by 0.0015%. So more than the time, but still not a ton. And then by far the most impactful towards increasing the evolution factor is destroying enemy spawners. For every spawner you destroy, you increase it by 0.2%. So essentially, for every 5 spawners you destroy, you're increasing it by 1%. And there are other factors, like the higher it gets, the harder it is to increase and stuff, but I'm not going to go into that. Just want to throw that out there in case you guys didn't know it. Anyway, this video has been long enough. I hope you found these helpful. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and your comments as well. I would love to hear any thoughts you have, any other tips and tricks that I may have missed for future videos, and just any feedback. But as always, guys, thank you for watching. I do hope you enjoyed, and until next time, I look forward to seeing you all, and do take care.